Today, I have in a couple of watches from a brand that I think would make for a great, fairly affordable two-piece collection. The company is the British brand Newmark Watches. I have in the 71 Sports I'm wearing on wrist, as well as the 6 BB Chronograph. This is my first hands-on experience with the brand, so big thanks to them for the opportunity to get a few days with the watches. But let's get to it and check them out. All right. Now, Newmark Watches was a brand that was around a long time. This year, they're actually celebrating their 150th year anniversary. It's a company that suffered due to the quartz crisis, but they were revived back in 2018 and are pulling from the catalog of older Newmark watches to come out with new releases inspired by earlier models from the brand. At the moment, Newmark has a few models, each with some options when it comes to things like dial color. There's the 71 Sports, the diver here that I have, the 6BB chronograph. They also have a field watch and a diver with an internal bezel. So let's start with the chronograph here. And first of all, love the asymmetrical case design. I've always been a fan of case designs like this. The original version of the watch dates back to the late 60s, and they were also issued to the Royal Air Force back in 1980. So pretty cool that the brand has that kind of history. This is the date version of the watch, but there's also a no date. It's a quartz watch. So as a duo with this and the diver, it's good to have a grab and go quartz in the duo of watches from the brand if you were to have these as a two watch collection. The dial is simple and straightforward, very clean and easy to read. Up top, they have the company name printed in white with the L representing Luminova below that. Down at the 6 is the date, and it's a good sized date, so no problem reading it at all. We'll fire up the chronograph here, and the watch is running the Seiko VK64A quartz movement. Good snappy action of the pushers, and the second hand beats 5 times per second, so it gives the feel you'd get with a mechanical chronograph. Only downside for me here is there's no running seconds on the watch. At the 3 o'clock subdial, that shows the time in 24 hours. Not something I really need, so a running seconds would be better. Over at the 6 o'clock subdial, that shows the minutes for the chronograph. One highlight of the watch, actually much more so on their 71 Sports, but the lume is super solid on this, especially the markers. They're quite small, but they managed to get them to be just as bright as the hands. The case is fully brushed. It's a fairly thick watch, but still wears well on wrist, I find. The case back, I'll put an image of that up here now, is a screw down case back and has the officially issued NATO stock number engraved. The strap isn't bad. The material was a little stiff at first, but it broke in quite quickly. It is a single pass strap. We have signed hardware, signed with the company name. It looks good on the watch, but it's one of those watches I think that's going to look good on just about any strap. I'll hit you with the numbers here, but let's first stop and then reset the chronograph. Size on the watch comes in at a case width of 39.8 millimeters. The lug to lug is 45.8. Lug opening is 20 millimeters, and the thickness is 12.8 millimeters, including the AR treated domed sapphire. Water resistance on the watch is 100 meters. And here it is on my 7.25-inch wrist. And yep, cool factor is through the roof with these style of watches, at least for me. Price tag for this is £550, so right around $720 USD as of today's exchange rate. The no date version is a little cheaper at £500. Big fan of the watch here. It is totally my kind of watch, so that helps too. But let's check out the 71 Sports. So this is another update on a watch from their back catalog, but with all of the modern touches we want to see in a modern watch. There's 3 versions of the watch currently. There's a black dial. There's also a DLC stealthy model, which surprisingly has the same price as the regular steel models. And lastly, this blue fume dial. The dial is a beautiful shade of blue and transitions to black at the edge. This one's a little wordier than the chronograph when it comes to text on the dial, but not bad. They've also added the company logo just above Newmark. At the bottom of the dial is automatic and the water resistance of the watch. Love those triangular markers and the large vintagey handset. I really like that diamond tip on the second hand too. The lume they're using is GLX1C3 Super Luminova, and this could be the best lume I've seen on a watch this year. It's a total torch. Definitely gets an A plus from me for lume. The bezel has a glossy black ceramic insert. It's easy to grip. It actually protrudes just beyond the case. It's got really good action, but it is loud. Very clicky action here. And one other thing that I like is the insert is angled to match the angle of the domed crystal, which is a nice detail. The case is brushed on the top of the lugs there, and polished on the sides. Case back is a screw down case back with an image of a diver engraved, and under the hood is the Miyota 9039 movement. So 24 joule movement, beating at 28,800 vibrations per hour with a power reserve of approximately 42 hours. The signed screw down crown, it's sized right, and with no crown guards, it's no problem with grip. Good action. Pretty well what you'd expect for the movement. The bracelet is a cool look for the watch, and with the thinner inner links, it has a good flow to it. Also, female end links, so it drapes straight down. No quick release spring bars, and also no on the fly adjustment system on the signed clasp, but they do give us 3 holes for adjustments, so I was able to get a good fit. Size on the watch is 38.1 millimeters. The bezel diameter, though, is 39.5, so it wears closer to that size, I find. The lug to lug is 46.2 millimeters. Lug opening is 20 millimeters, and the thickness is 13.3 millimeters, including the AR treated sapphire. Water resistance is 200 meters. And here's a look on wrist, and same as the chronograph, this is a great watch too. Both would make for a good two-piece collection, or maybe even a travel duo. Not that many of us will ever probably get down to a two-piece, but hey, fun to think about. Cost for this comes in at £475, so approximately $625 USD. Link to where you can find these will be below. Also, check out their other watches there too. They have some really good stuff. Thanks for taking a few minutes to stop by, and we'll see you real soon. Bye-bye.